So the next question is, how did it work? In other words, how did this function to protect you? Well, the fact that it's rounded and polished to a fairly smooth finish, weapons encountering it, so prop number one, the gladius, if this were to strike it direct, it would glance off because it's a rounded, smooth surface, and there's obviously quite a bit of movement involved, quite a bit of power. And as you would strike a rounded surface, there's a lot more chance that it will glance off rather than become embedded in the metal or cause blunt trauma by shock. So yeah, that initially this rounded shape gives it that power of deflection. It's a lot more form-fitting and comfortable to wear. That is a very important aspect of armour. The better weight distribution you have and the more comfortable the armour is, the more likely you are to wear it. By all accounts, the Roman soldiers would wear their armour quite a bit. It wasn't just something that they just put on for battle. It would be worn during normal duties, suggesting that certain areas were probably quite violent, and you needed to be able to bring your troops to bear on an enemy in fairly quick order. So the guys had to be ready at all times. In some friezes you can see, such as on Trajan's column, or you can see legionaries working in their armour with the only thing they're not wearing are their helmets. It's important that the armour is comfortable to wear and form-fitting, which this definitely is. It's very anatomically shaped, and as I can attest, it is comfortable to wear. You've got the ear openings here, so this is important in battle. Battle was very noisy. When you've got a lot of people screaming and shouting, battles will tend to get noisier and noisier as the stress levels build up, and as more and more people become injured, you're going to have a lot of screaming and shouting. Orders are going to be going to be coming through. You probably have trumpet calls. So there's a lot of ambient sound on the battlefield, and you need to be able to hear what's going on, but also you need to protect the ears. So these are the ear protectors are super important. That's a very important aspect. Crumple zones. So you can see this. I'm not sure if that really comes through on the camera. Let's have a look. Yeah. So you can see this embossed area here. If we look on the inside, in fact, you can see it a lot better. There we go. So you can see on the inside that this has been hammered out. This is possibly either to incorporate leather padding, or it acts as a natural sort of crumple zone to absorb shocks and blows to the face and to the helmet, or to different areas of the helmet. And again, we can see a similar sort of crumple zone here on the back. So this is raised, and again, if we look on the inside, you can see that that's recessed there. So either that is made to absorb a blow from a heavy weapon, and so not only does it if it can't deflect it, it absorbs it. So imagine it's a bit like when they started designing cars in the 80s to absorb shock in the event of an accident. So certain parts of cars were made to collapse rather than try to resist the power of a shock. So in this case, this armour was possibly designed with that in mind. So yeah, there's again, the jury's out on that one, but it's a nice idea or possibility to entertain. One of my favourite components of this helmet is the peak on the front here. So this is to protect from full frontal blows. So if you take an axe, and you can see here, this is about the size of a battle axe. Battle axes weren't as big as they're depicted in the movies. It's usually something that's a lot lighter and easier to handle. So it's still a heavy weapon, but here you can see, if you look at that and you look at that, you can see it's automatically, whatever's going to strike at the head has to hit this bar. It's going to hit this bar, and a full frontal blow is very likely because that's where the enemy are. You're facing them behind a row of shields, and your head's poking out, and or the upper part of your body's poking out, and so that's what they're going to be aiming for. So if they can't thrust at you, they're going to strike down upon you. sort of overhead blows, which is extremely likely. And you can see how that bar deflects that or interrupts the trajectory of that weapon. So yeah, I love that piece of design. This is a solid piece of metal, and it'll stop anything dead. It'll give you a bit of a shock though, I dare say, but at least it won't take you out of combat. It does also raise your profile as well, this helmet, because of this brow part here is slightly raised, so that gives you a bit of space between the top of the helmet and the rest of your head. So the fact that the helmet's raised is a bit like a modern day safety or plastic safety helmet, where it gives you room for manoeuvre, let's say. So the occipital, or the back part of the helmet, which protects here the base of the skull, which we mentioned earlier was vulnerable. Now it's protected by these ridges, which helps strengthen the helmet in this area. But again, if something were to strike it from above, it's a bit of a weird angle because of the 45-degree angle here, and then this reinforcement here. It just means that anything that's going to come down on the back of your head is just not gonna do what it's intended, is to take you out. And obviously you'll tend to, when you're in combat, you will tend to sort of draw your neck in a bit like a turtle. So you'll bunch up a little bit, so that flared guard is going to be a lot closer to the armour on your back, and it's going to stop anything nasty striking you and getting you at the base of your skull, which would immediately take you out of combat if it did manage to find its way home. Think mountain warfare, so you think you've got a lot of stuff raining down on you from above, and you need to protect the back of your neck. Also, when you're getting into a fight, especially hand-to-hand combat, the back of your neck is going to become exposed at some point, because you're going to be turning, you're going to be moving, and you're a lot closer to the enemy. He's within arm's length of you. So the whole part of your upper body is vulnerable. So this protection is not exaggerated. It's definitely required. The cheek guards also. Cheek guards are again absolutely vital. You can see here, if I were to strike the face here with a gladius here, you'll be coming in at the side of the face for a blow from the side. Here, that's interrupted by these. Every part of this cheek guard is there to prevent. Also, slightly more subtle here, as you can see how this flares out on the back. This is to keep blows away from your neck. You want to ensure that the sword, before it hits the cheek guard, is actually going to catch here, and that may bend, but at least it will stop the sword from biting into the side of your neck. Likewise, if you were to use an axe, you can see the axe blow comes in, and it's stopped by these edges here. It's stopped by the cheek guard, and that stops you from getting a broken jaw. Broken jaws happen quite a bit, even in boxing, so you can imagine what it'd be like in combat with someone swinging a big stick or a pointy weapon at you. So cheek guards are absolutely vital, and in this case they are brilliantly designed to protect you. So there you go. That is the sort of how it works part of this helmet.